What up, what up, what up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I'm your host, Big C. We're brought to you by Game Changers Media. How's everybody doing this morning? How is everybody doing this beautiful? What's today? What's today? Wednesday? What's today? Wednesday? I get lost. I get lost with the days. Today, Wednesday or Thursday? I want to say it's Wednesday, right? What day is it? Jesus. Jeez Louise, can't even keep track of it. It's Thursday. Sorry. It's a beautiful Thursday. How is everybody doing today? Nothing like that cup of coffee in the morning. So yeah, let's get into it. Right now the Senior Bowl is going on. Obviously the Miami Dolphins have a lot of holes they need filled, and a lot of them holes are going to have to be filled through the draft since we don't have a ton of cap room. Chris Grier, he's had mixed results in his draft history. I mean, he's hit on some picks, and other picks he's just completely failed at. What I get from Chris Grier is that he likes to go for potential more than what a player more so than what a player's abilities are in the moment. He likes to try to think that he can find this hidden potential that, you know, down the road this guy could turn into this player, instead of drafting a player that is maybe more of a known commodity. He's not going to have the opportunity this year. Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel are obviously on a hot seat. We've discussed that numerous times. I think for once he's not going to be looking for the guy that down the road can be a good player or a great player for this team. He's going to have to go get someone that can contribute right away. And to be honest, that's what this team needs right now. We need multiple starters in multiple positions. So we don't have time for a guy to come in and become a good player. We need good players now. So we'll see what kind of job Chris Grier does this year. Do I have a lot of faith in Chris Grier? I don't. But we shall see. You know, when someone's got their back against the wall, that's when you learn a lot about a person. Maybe Chris Grier surprises us and he knocks this draft out of the park. And to be honest, if he does that, this Miami Dolphins team can and will be a very good team next year, as long as, again, broken record here, again, if Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy. And it's terrible that our whole season, this team's whole ability to have a chance at anything special here relies solely on the fact whether Tua can stay healthy or not. And that's, to be honest, that's the main reason. I mean, people can criticize Tua's play on the field, and rightfully so in some instances. But what you can't move forward and you can't question is the fact that you can't go season to season hoping and praying that your quarterback stays healthy to determine whether your team can have success. This team is bigger than one player. And for our team's whole season, all our hopes and dreams to rely on one person's ability to stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to show that he can do that on a consistent basis. It's not fair to the rest of the team. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the organization. And that's my major problem with Tua. But yeah, in other news, before we get into the Senior Bowl, maybe good news for the Miami Dolphins. Actually, it'll be great news if it ends up happening this way. But it seems that the Saints want Kellen Moore more than they want Anthony Weaver. So it looks like Anthony Weaver, there's a very good chance that Weaver returns to the Miami Dolphins next season. That is awesome news for this Miami Dolphins team. That is awesome news. For once, we can have a little bit of continuity. Anthony Weaver can continue to build on what he started to build on last year. Hopefully, Anthony Weaver gets some. He gets some guys back from injury. He actually has a pass rush to work with this year, which he didn't last year. And we'll see what kind of defense. We'll see what kind of defense Anthony Weaver can really cook up when he has a full team, when he has a full array of weapons at on his hip. You know what I mean? Let's see what he can do when he has Jalen Phillips healthy. Hopefully Phillips comes back healthy and can perform at a good level. I mean, I've always been a little let down with Jalen Phillips' play. If I'm going to be honest, I think Jalen Phillips is a good player. I think Jalen Phillips is a very good player. I think Jalen Phillips has great physical tools, but Jalen Phillips is. It's also been a letdown to me. When you draft a pass rusher in the first round, especially in the top 15 picks or so, you expect, at some point, maybe not a rookie year, maybe not the second year, but the third year, fourth year, you expect a 10 plus sack, a 12 plus sack season. And Jalen Phillips hasn't delivered that to us yet. He's got all the potential in the world. He's got all the physical tools in the world. He just hasn't, whether injuries, whether underperforming, he just hasn't given us that yet. And to me, that it's kind of a disappointment. People looked at Jalen Phillips and seen this. I mean, he's built like a Greek god. He really is. You look at the guy and he looks phenomenal. You can't help but to think, how fast he is, how strong he is. You can't help but to think of the days of Jason Taylor. But that just hasn't came to fruition. And to me, that's a little disappointing. But if Jalen Phillips can come back and give us 8 sacks, 9 sacks, that I'd be more than happy, because I think Chop Robinson can continue to build. I think if Chop Robinson has someone to take a little bit of the pressure off him, offensive coordinators were able to seek Chop Robinson out and be like, all right, if we stop Chop Robinson, they don't really have a pass rush coming from anywhere else. If you got a game plan for more than one pass rusher, that's going to make everybody's job a little bit easier. Again, I'm hopeful that Bradley Chubb's willing to play ball and we can rework his contract and keep Bradley Chubb on the team. And, Bradley Chubb's coming back from major knee injury. But hopefully Bradley Chubb can come back and give us a 7-8 sack season. So if you mix Jalen and Bradley Chubb 7-8 sacks apiece, I really think that opens the door for Chop Robinson to come out and have 10 plus sacks. I really do. Because one thing that I've heard about Chop Robinson is that he wants to learn. He's willing to learn. He's willing to put in the time before and after practice. He's picking Teron Armstead's brain, asking how he can be a more efficient pass rusher. So the kid's willing to work. I like that. That shows me that he's someone that wants to be great. He wants to be great. He's not satisfied with the status quo, in the famous words of Stephen Ross, the status quo. He's not all right with the status quo. And that's the type of players you want on this team. When Tyreek Hill talks about having dogs, that's the type of people that Tyreek Hill's talking about, is players like Chop Robinson. People that are willing to put the work in, get their hands dirty and go to war. So with Anthony Weaver coming back, with that continuity, Anthony Weaver getting some pass rushers. Finally, I think this defense can have another legit top 10 year. I think this defense can definitely have another top 10 performance and be even better than last year's. I really hope that, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins free agents, and I want to get your guys' opinion on who you guys think we should bring back or who we shouldn't bring back. Maybe we'll do that video tomorrow. But yeah, great news that it looks like Anthony Weaver is going to be returning to the Miami Dolphins next season. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and share. Who's in the building today? Who's all in here? Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Again, if you're over on Game Changers, if you could click over the Fin Posse podcast and show your love over there, show your support over there, I'd greatly appreciate it. Like, for instance, yesterday's video, I think we had 40 some views on the Fin Posse, and then we had 30 something on the Game Changers. That's a total of 70. But I'm only getting credit for 40 and 30. I think we had 18 likes on one channel and 12 likes on another channel. That's 28 likes, but I'm only getting credit for 18 and 12. Good morning to you, Bonnie. How are you doing this morning? How are you doing today, Bonnie? Bonnie, are you happy to hear that Anthony Weaver is more than likely coming back to the Miami Dolphins this year? To me, that gets me excited. This is going to be the first time in the Mike McDaniel era that we're going to have a defensive coordinator for more than one season. So I'm definitely pumped about that. Yeah, I am, Bonnie. I am super stoked about it. I think Anthony Weaver he's a very good coach, and I'm glad that we get to continue the build with Weaver. So the Miami Dolphins, they're doing their due diligence for all those people that wanna replace Tua Tagovailoa. Miami's doing their due diligence. Chris Greer's not sitting on his hands. He met with a couple quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl this week. Chris Greer and the Miami Dolphins met with Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. They met with another Alabama quarterback, Jalen Milroe. It's really up in the air whether Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart is, there's an argument to be made which quarterback. I mean, you got at the top of the draft, you got Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Without question, they're the top two quarterbacks in this draft. They're the top two quarterbacks that are going to come off the board. But depending on who's mock draft or who you decide to tune into and who you decide to listen to, there's a lot of discussion who's going to be that third quarterback off the board. Is it going to be a Jackson Dart? Is it going to be a Jalen Milroe? Is it going to be a Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel? Is it going to be Ewers from the University of Texas? There's a litany of names out there that the next group of quarterback that are going to be off the board after the top two, and where these quarterbacks are going to go. Are they still first round quarterbacks? Is a quarterback needy team going to get desperate and move into the top 10? Are multiple teams going to get desperate and move into the top 10 to grab? We could see two quarterbacks go in the top 10, or we could see 4 or 5. Because when them top two go, and then say a team like the Raiders or any other quarterback hungry team needs their quarterback, they're gonna move up. And then they're gonna take the third quarterback in the draft. And then one of them other teams that need a quarterback, they're gonna be like, oh shoot, 3 of the quarterbacks are gone. We got to get up there now. So then another team moves into the top 10. So, I mean, you could see a bunch of quarterbacks go in this top 10, which I don't believe the Miami Dolphins are taking a quarterback with their first overall pick. And if you get a bunch of quarterback hungry teams moving into the top 10 to take quarterbacks, that's only good for the Dolphins. That's good news for the Dolphins because that means someone's going to fall to the number 13 pick that shouldn't be at the shouldn't be available at number 13. That's great news for the Miami Dolphins. So I really do hope that happens. I really do. Yeah, Miami met with Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. Listen, Jalen Milroe, he's got a very good deep ball. He's like very impressive at the Senior Bowl throwing the deep ball. Most impressive deep ball at the Senior Bowl so far. But he has struggled with his intermediate game. He has struggled with the short and intermediate game, and that worries me because Mike McDaniel's offense is predicated a lot on that the the short plays, the 10 to 15, the 20-yard routes. And if you're struggling to connect and struggling to be accurate on those plays, that really throws things off. And I don't know if Jalen Milroe struggling with his mediate to intermediate accuracy is a good fit for this offense. Now, will it be nice to be able to hit Tyreek on a 60, 70-yard touchdown pass? Absolutely. But I mean, we can't solely rely on that. That's one of Tua's superpowers. That's why Tua is so very good in this offense, is because he is so deadly accurate in that 10 to 15 to 20-yard range. So I would say that Jalen Milroe isn't the top fit for this Miami Dolphins team. But we shall see. I'm not the one that's calling the shots. They also met with Oregon quarterback, Heisman finalist, Dylan Gabriel. Now, Dylan Gabriel, he's a shorter quarterback. Here we go with a shorter quarterback. He's only 5'11". He's been the most impressive quarterback at the Senior Bowl, though. He's been the most impressive quarterback. And yeah, he's a little undersized, but he's got plenty of zip on his ball. I mean, when you got to watch the guy throw, he's out there throwing missiles. He's out there throwing lasers. I mean, the guy has an arm. So that's not a problem. Yeah, you'd like to see your quarterback be the big physical 6'3", 6'4", prototypical quarterback size. But I mean, as long as you can make all the throws and you're not struggling to see over your offensive line, I don't have a huge problem with the size. I mean, we've seen smaller quarterbacks succeed. Would I love a guy the size of Josh Allen? Absolutely. But if you can make all the throws and you can get the ball where it needs to go and you can be a playmaker for this offense, I don't care if you're 5 foot or if you're 8 foot. If you can be successful and you can lead our offense down the field, I'm cool with it. If you can get the ball into the playmaker's hands, I'm cool with it. They also met with LSU tight end Mason Taylor. You might recognize that name, Mason Taylor. Taylor, Jason Taylor's nephew. I feel like Smythe is probably out the door this year. He had a terrible year last year. Very disappointed in the year that he had. Of course, we still got Jonnu, but with Smythe leaving, we need to add a tight end. Mason Taylor's got the family connections. Maybe they end up trying to pick him up. One thing I do know is that Miami Dolphins brass, they were watching all quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. They were watching every one of the quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl. They were checking out your Jackson Darts. They were checking out everybody. Oh, there we go. Where we go? Hello. maybe Chris Greer's hearing the fans. Maybe he's understanding. Maybe he's feeling the same way. Maybe he's having some buyer remorse with Tua Tagovailoa. Who knows? Who knows? We could have avoided the situation altogether by having Tua play out last year. We can't continue to dwell on the past though. But I mean, obviously Chris Greer, Mike McDaniel see that Tua's inavailability to stay available is a problem. And I mean, you heard their frustration and their irritation in their exit interviews this year. So I don't think they're naive to the fact. Other top performers in the Senior Bowl, Gary Zabel, Nebraska State. This guy, he's an offensive lineman. He can play guard or center. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. Man, this guy, he moves so well. He's a wall. He is a straight wall. He is a wall. He just straight stone walls defenders. He stands them up straight. He doesn't allow the penetration. This guy is an absolute beast. And the fact that he can play guard or center, that's fantastic. We need people that can play multiple positions because we need to be able to, we don't have a lot of depth. So we need to be able to plug and play people at different positions. Gary Zabel, man, he's ranked number 41 in PFF. So obviously we're not going to take him with our first round draft pick. And I don't know if he'll be there in the second round when we draft. We might have to trade up to get this guy. We might have to try to trade up in the second round to get this guy. But trust me when I tell you, if we end up going Micaiah Starks in the first round safety from Georgia, I would most certainly trade up to get this guy. Gary Zabel is he can be a starter right out the gates. He can be a Pro Bowl type player right from day one. Right from day one. Another guy that really stood out is Ole Miss defensive tackle Walter Nolan. Now, we need help on both sides of the line. Do I feel like the defensive line is as much in need as the offensive line in the safety position? No, I don't. But that's another area of need. You need do you take the best player available or do you just plug for needs? Like we have dire needs on the offensive line. But I mean, a lot's going to depend on what we do in free agency. If we can get a couple starters on the offensive line of free agency, we can get a starting safety in free agency. That opens up the door for us to just take the best player available, but still at a position of need also. Now, I don't say you go out there and take a wide receiver with your first round pick. No way. No way. But it allows you to, all right, well, we need defensive tackle. We need offensive line. We need safety. It opens up the door for you to be able to pick the best player at one of those positions. You take the best player at a position in need, and it opens up that door. Walter Nolan, he's 6'3", 305 pounds. He's got great bursts. He's fast, super strong, very athletic. He just burst through the offensive line. He's got a PFF ranking of number 36. Again, he's probably not going to be there when we pick in the second round. So he's another guy that we're probably going to have to move up a little bit to get. But I mean, if the right people are there, you go and you get them. Raphael, what's up? Good morning to you, brother. Good morning to you. So, I mean, if depending on what we do in free agency, I'd be cool with the Walter Nolan pick. But again, if we don't address the offensive line in free agency or the safety position, I would gravitate towards those positions more than the defensive tackle position. Because I still have some little bit of hope that we can somehow talk Calais into coming back. I would love Calais Campbell to return to this football team next year, whether he's willing to, whether I mean, he might not even want to play next year, and even if he does, he might want to really go to a place that has a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl. You know, your Baltimores, your Kansas Cities, your Philadelphias, your maybe Detroit. Uh, but I would love for him to stay here in Miami. He played his collegiate ball here in Miami. This is home. I would love for him to give it one more opportunity with us. Other standouts. We had Willie Lampkin, offensive lineman, guard, North Carolina. He's a little bit smaller in stature, but take a look at him. Willie Lampkin. He's a guard, North Carolina. He's only 5'11", 291 pounds. But in PFF rankings, he was either number one or number two all year. This guy, he is a straight animal. He might be a little lower on people's draft boards just because of his size, but don't let this kid's size fool you. He was dominant, absolutely dominant. Willie Lampkin, check him out. Willie Lampkin. Make sure you guys check him out. This kid will be an absolute starter from day one for us. Like I said, I'd like him to put on a few pounds. I mean, he can't do nothing about that 5'11" height, but I mean, that just means he can get up under those tall defensive tackles, and you know what I mean, and get good position on them. So he's an absolute stud. I'd love to have Willie Lampkin on this team. Again, I'm not sure what his draft status is right now, whether he's a second round guy or I'd have to check into that. Sorry, I should have did my due diligence before hopping on today. Yeah, but Willie Lampkin, great guard for North Carolina. Some other guys that really stood out is wide receivers, teammates from Iowa State, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. Now, Jalen Noel is 5'11", 200 pounds. He only runs a 4.45. He's a smaller receiver. He doesn't have the typical speed that we're looking for, but got great hands, great route runner, and he was absolutely cooking every defensive back that was put on him. He was absolutely cooking everybody yesterday. Most impressive wide receiver by far was Jalen Noel from Iowa State. And then you got his teammate, and this is the guy that I'd be more interested in if he was available, maybe in the third, fourth round, is Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins got great hands. He doesn't have that game-breaking speed. He only runs a 4.55, but he's got that height. He can be that red zone target. He's 6'4", 215 pounds. Very impressive. Very good route runner. Reminds me of maybe a poor man's Mike Evans. I think he could do a lot for this team. We have this prototypical wide receiver that we have here in Miami. They're all under 6 foot and 200 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, we need to get a big body wide receiver in here that can stay healthy and that can make some plays for us. I mean, when Tua had Devontae Parker struggled to stay healthy, but Tua and Devontae Parker was a nice hookup. I don't know if you remember just the first year with them two, but Tua and Devontae Parker, that was a nice hookup. You get these receivers that have a huge catch radius that Tua doesn't got to be absolutely perfect for, or that can go up and get these balls. Typically, when Tua's off, when he's struggling, he throws the ball high. What's going on, brother? What's going on? How's everything for you? Yeah, Easy E. I've been done with him. You've been done with Tua since 2022. I've been done with that guy. Easy E. He is a preseason Terrell Owens. Other than that, this guy is a waste of space in my opinion. AVS for life 1324. What's going on? How you doing? Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment, share. Love to hear from you. Yeah, so you got the two wide receivers from Iowa State. They've been cooking all the defenders out there. Wide receivers not a big area of concern for us. But if wide receivers are there in the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, that's when you go and you get. I'd love to see them go get a big body receiver. I'd love to see them go get a big body receiver that has dependable hands. Not everybody's got to be a track star. Not everybody's got to be a track star. You need different players so you can run different plays and run different types of offenses. Not everything's got to be a track meet. So I'd love to see us add a receiver later on. And then another standout was a lot of you Miami fans down there in Miami, if you follow the Hurricanes also, is the tight end out of Miami, Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Arroyo. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Elijah Arroyo. Big target, 6'4", 245 pounds. He's got speed, he's got height, he's got the weight, great athlete, great hands, great route runner. He could be a huge addition. Yeah, we got Jonnu, but this guy would be a solid number two. And then eventually when Jonnu's ran his course here in Miami, he can take over that Jonnu role. He's got a PFF ranking of number 80, so he could be there in the third, fourth round. And again, it's not really an area of need right now because we have Jonnu, but I mean, I can't say that I'd be happy if we took a tight end in the third round. Like I said, first three rounds, I 100% believe that have to be offensive line and safety. The only position that I wouldn't be mad at if we took over in the first three rounds, besides offensive line or safety, is the defensive line. That's the only other position that I wouldn't be angry about. Because we do need that big defensive tackle, that big run stuffer, the big guy that demands a double team. Raphael, linebacker. I mean, I think we're all right at linebacker right now. Would I like a Zach Thomas linebacker or a Ray Lewis type linebacker? Yeah, but you're not going to. We have bigger holes in that right now, so we're not going to take linebacker in the first round, second round. So we're not going to get a Ray Lewis type. We're not going to get a Zach Thomas type probably. So in next year's draft, yeah, I mean, in a year where we don't have so many glaring holes, yeah, I'd love to take a linebacker that was going to be that type of player. Yeah, we need strong safety. We need free safety. We need two safeties. I believe you let Javon Holland walk. My opinion, we need 3 offensive linemen right now and 2 safeties. That's our major area of concern. You got to let Javon Holland walk. He's going to want a 4 or 5 year deal, $19 million a year. You can't give Javon Holland that type of money. You can't do it. He's regressed in every season he's been in the NFL. He's regressed. He's not worth $19.5 million. He's not. He's not worth it. You can't bring Javon Holland back, so you need 2 safeties. Now I think we address one of those and we bring in a veteran, and I think we maybe draft a rookie. I mean, what we do in the draft is gonna free agency comes first. Free agency's at the beginning of March, middle of March. So I mean, Chris Greer, he's going to have to start making moves, seeing how much cap space he can open up, see what players become available, what players aren't going to be re-signed, which people are going to hit the market, and depending on what we do in free agency, that's going to dictate what we do in the draft. So once free agency comes and goes, we can really start to zero in on what we're going to do in the draft. That's when the mock drafts really start getting serious, and you can start really being like, all right, I can see us taking this person in the first, then we can move up for this person in the second, and you can really start the game plan. He'll probably play great for another team, but I agree that Holland needs to go. Yeah, I mean, I think Javon Holland will be solid for another team. I still don't think I think whoever takes him at $19.5 million a year is still going to have buyer's remorse. I truly do. Javon's been a little bit injury prone the last couple of years also. He doesn't have the greatest knees. But yeah, I mean, he's not Michael Fitzpatrick, or he's not. I had a lot of hope and a lot of. Javon Holland was one of my favorite players at one point. He really was. When he came into the league and the way he was playing, like, he was one of my favorite players. I was so glad that we drafted him. But he's been an absolute letdown since then, and it's just disappointing. It's disappointing. But there's no way we can afford to pay him the money that he wants. And he feels that he's worth it. He feels he's worth it. I wouldn't be comfortable paying Javon Holland more than $10 million a year. I really wouldn't. I thought we should have signed Justin Simmons last year instead of Jordan Poyer. That was a big mistake. Now people could say, "Oh, well, we let Brandon Jones go, and he went to Denver and was a Pro Bowler." I mean, Brandon Jones didn't play that way here in Miami. Brandon Jones was liable to hurt one of his teammates just as much as he was to hurt someone on the opposite team. He was reckless. Did he go to Denver and they used him the right way? Yeah. Because Brandon Jones is like another linebacker out there. He's a great tackler. He's great in run support. He's just not one of those center fielder type safeties. What positions would you like to see addressed first in the draft? If you had the keys to the car, what position are you going for first round? What moves are you making to improve this team next year? What moves are y'all making to improve this team next year? AVS for life, 91324 says guard. Yep, guard. Like I was saying earlier in the video, Greg Zabel, Nebraska State. This guy's a beast. 6'6", 310. He can play guard or center. He's a straight wall. He's straight stone walls defenders. He's got a PFF ranking of 41. We might have to trade up a little bit to get him, but hopefully that, again, Chris Greer doesn't care about the future of this team. He cares about this year because he knows this year is the year that he's on the hot seat. So don't be surprised if Chris Greer uses future draft capital to move up in this draft to grab players that he wants. Poyer was a disaster. He's the reason Phillips got hurt. I swear he was a double agent for the Bills. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel that way. He definitely cost us that game against the Bills. He definitely did. offensive line for sure, and a good backup quarterback. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get. I think they're gonna bring in a veteran quarterback. Maybe we draft one. I can't see us draft one in the first 3 rounds. But again, whoever they bring in at backup quarterback, Mike McDaniel hasn't shown the ability to alter his offense to support the backup quarterback. He continues to try to run the offense that was made for Tua, and not everybody has the same skill set as Tua. So that's why our offense looks so sluggish and so rough at times, because these players aren't Tua. This offense is a very complicated offense. It's got a lot of nuances to it. It's an offense that takes a while to learn. Tua's been in the system for a long time now. Raphael says quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. Raphael, you better stop it. You know that's not happening this year, bro. You're gonna waste a pick. You're gonna waste a pick on one of these later quarterbacks. Defensive line, Raphael says defensive line, safety, free safety, linebacker, wide receiver, O-line, etc. Yeah, I mean, my top 3 are offensive line, the safeties, and then I'd go the defensive line. Depending on how draft falls, I've heard there are a few really good safeties available. Yeah, I mean, the top 2 are definitely heads and shoulders above the rest. Malachi Starks, this kid, he is absolutely fantastic. He's super fast. You know, I'm not against, and I know some people have thrown it out there before. You know, if a top corner were to fall in our hands, I wouldn't be against taking a top corner and moving Jalen Ramsey back to safety. I think Jalen Ramsey would be a much better safety at this point in his career than he is a corner. I really do. I think Jalen Ramsey could have another 6-7 years of great football, like great Pro Bowl level football, if you remove the safety instead of corner. Kind of like a Charles Woodson, kind of like a Rod Woodson, if you remember Rod Woodson back in the day. Rod Woodson was a all-world corner, and then he got moved to safety, and he had another Hall of Fame career as safety. So I think, I mean, I don't know if that's really an option this year, but, and yeah, that's right. That's right, Raphael, with the Steelers. I don't really think it's an option this year, but look for that to happen maybe in years down the road. Maybe next year. Maybe next year we see that happen. But I mean, Jalen Ramsey, he's great at rushing the quarterback. He's more than a willing tackler. He's got great ball skills. He just, I think he lacks the athleticism of a top end corner anymore. And I think that truly hurts him. But in the safety, he'd be a killer in the safety position. He'd be a killer as a safety. Let's see. Yeah, don't be surprised if Chris Greer uses future draft capital to move up, move around this draft, because again, he's not concerned with the future. He's concerned with this year. That's why I keep saying that Chris Greer is going to put the best team possible around Tua this year. Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa are going to have the best team they've had in the last 4 or 5 years here. And that's why I say if Tua can stay healthy this year, this Miami Dolphins team has the potential to go and make the playoffs. They have the potential to win playoff games next year. They really do. Ramsey was set on blitz but failed to make a tackle on quarterback. I like the idea, but I'm not sure if it'll work out. Listen, I mean, that was one play, Raphael. I mean, nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't make perfect plays on every opportunity. There was a lot of plays that Ramsey rushed the quarterback and made great plays on the ball where he affected the pass, where he had batted the ball down, where he made the tackle. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what play you're talking about. But yeah, I think Ramsey will be fantastic as safety. I really do. I really do. I think these quarterbacks that Miami's looking at right now, I think they're going to end up going too high. Jalen Milroe probably going to end up being a first round, early second round. Jackson Dart, first round, early second round. Dylan Gabriel, early second round. And I just don't think Miami can invest in a quarterback that early. A big body wide receiver in either free agency or later in the draft would be nice. Yeah, I agree. That's why I said something about the wide receiver from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins. I don't know where he's projected to land or where he's projected to go in the draft, but he's 6'4", 215 pounds, big body receiver. I like it. I don't. He's injury prone, but someone that can go up and get the ball. And I'm not sure if I even like the idea myself, but depending on what the Steelers do with Mike Williams, if Mike Williams comes back with the Steelers, now again, I know he's injury prone and this and that, but I think I wouldn't mind seeing Miami bring in him. He can go up and get the ball. What are the Bears doing with Keenan Allen? Is Keenan Allen? I wouldn't mind seeing Keenan Allen. He's a great route runner. He's a bigger receiver. I'd love to see Keenan Allen if he want to cost an arm and a leg. Someone I always wanted to see come here. I don't know what happened to him. He completely fell off the map. Was Michael Thomas. Remember Michael Thomas from the Saints? Like he had that great year, like 120 catches. Just was phenomenal. And then the next year he had a foot injury and he just never been the same. Like what happened to Michael Thomas? Michael Thomas would be the perfect fit. Such great hands, big body receiver, runs that crossing route so perfectly. I don't know what happened to that guy. But yeah, I would love to find a Mike Williams or a Mike Evans type. It's definitely an aspect of this offense that we're missing. I mean, yeah, we got Jonnu as a tight end, but I still feel like you need a bigger wide receiver. You can't just have all these small receivers. You can't have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington. They're all these tiny guys. They're so tiny. They're so easy to be bumped off their, you put hands on them at the line of scrimmage. If it screws up the timing of everything, it's so easy to hold them up and to throw them off their route. What up, Dolphin Dance? Says sup. Y'all been super busy. Yeah, I'm just trying to bust out the content. It gets hard to do content right now this time of year. You know what I mean? Like It's hard when there's not a lot of games going on and there's not a lot of, you ain't got to worry about injury reports and practices and interviews and this and that. But I'm doing my best to try to get you all the information I can possibly get you. Uh, Good news again that it looks like Anthony Weaver is going to be returning to the Dolphins this year. That's great news. I'm going to continue to look over the people we can potentially get in the draft. When do you guys want to do a mock draft? You want to do a mock draft here soon in the next couple days? I think tomorrow I'm going to break down our free agents, our list of free agents, and see which ones I think we should bring back and which ones I think we should let go. I'd be tempted to double dip for quarterback if Jackson Dart and Kyle McCord are available. Dolphin season is over and now strip club season. I got you. I got you. Double dip at quarterback. Jackson Dart and Kyle McCord. I mean, Jackson Dart, I heard, looked all right at the Senior Bowl, but he hasn't been the most impressive quarterback there. He hasn't even been the most impressive quarterback there. Like, I don't want to just draft a quarterback to draft a quarterback. Like, I want to draft a quarterback that can truly. I want to draft the next great quarterback. I want to draft a Josh Allen. I want to draft a Pat Mahomes. I want to draft a quarterback that has top 5 potential, not a quarterback that, he can be good. He can be good. You know what I mean? Raphael says I don't like Jackson Dart from this draft class. For me, it's like talking to every girl in the bar. One of them is going to work out. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. That's a way to look at it. That's a way to look at it. I feel you on that. One of them's going to go home with you, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are wasted picks though. And I mean, if you're taking Jackson Dart's going to be a first, second round pick. Those are valuable picks. Now, I'm not a big pick guy. I think the draft lots of times is it's an absolute lottery. It's hit or miss. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you could take the top prospect and he can end up being a bum. But in them first 2 rounds, that's your money part of the draft that you got the best chance to bring home a talented player. And I just think we have too many holes. What's Jackson Dart going to do? You'd have to take Jackson Dart with your first round pick probably, right? So what's Jackson Dart going to do behind this offensive line? He's going to get ate up. Jackson Dart going to get ate up. What up, Costa Nostra? How you doing today, brother? And then you're going to frustrate Tyreek, and Tyreek's going to want to leave. And you know what I mean? Like, you're going to, before you know it, we're wasting Jalen Waddle's career. We're wasting all these guys' careers. We need to find I don't think this is the best draft class for quarterbacks this year. I'm okay with taking quarterback in rounds 5 or later as a flyer. I'm with Bonnie on this. I like another quarterback, but it's 2026 draft class. Darian Menshaw is my pick in first round 2026. Darian is a mobile quarterback without injury concerns, 6'3", 200-pound quarterback from California. Big C, do you like panel? Who's panel? Sorry, I got a lot of. Yeah, I think it's a bad quarterback class too. I think Jackson Dart's going to go before the second round. Jackson Dart's not going to be there in our second round pick. Jackson Dart, chances are, is going to be the third quarterback off the draft. I like Raphael's idea of the Menshaw pick in 2026. That's not a bad idea to me. 6'3", 200 pounds. He's probably going to gain another 10 to 15 pounds in the next year or so. That's prototypical size for an NFL quarterback. And I think if we're drafting a quarterback that high, chances are we got a new coach and we got a new general manager. Right? I mean, chances are that's the real rebuild then. Freshman stats: completed 65.9% of passes for 2,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. That's not bad for a freshman. Yeah, I mean, our team success, I don't care about backup quarterback, honestly, because I don't think if Tua can't stay healthy this year, we have no hope at winning anything. Anything. We have no hope at winning anything without Tua. This offense is built around Tua. It's built to Tua's strengths. If Tua goes out, no matter if you bring in, none of these backups are going to be someone that's going to win us a bunch of games. None of these backups are going to be able to come in and take us to the Super Bowl if Tua misses the rest of the season. It's just not going to happen. So if Tua gets hurt, I'd rather us lose the rest of the games and we really start to rebuild. That's how I feel. If Tua gets hurt next year, let's start this rebuild off. Let's lose the games. Let's go out, get the number 1 pick in the draft, and let's really start the rebuild. With it being a poor draft class, should Miami go hard after a quarterback in free agency or trade for a capable one? I mean, who are they really going to trade for? I don't think you go get a Kirk Cousins or nothing like that. Raphael says, guy reminds me of Jaden Daniels from Washington. That's who, man, I might cut off an arm to have Jaden Daniels here in Miami. He was so phenomenal this year. Would you trade for JJ? And also, do you like having panels on your channel? Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have panels. I definitely would. I invite people all the time to join and I like to have discussions. I like to have group talks. I definitely like that. 100% quarterbacking offseason at Costa Nostra. How's the smoke, Rafa? Fire. Just killed my lungs and my throat. Raphael, you smoke? You smoke that wacky tobacco? Every day, amigo. I don't personally smoke, but that's my other job, homie. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Sorry about that, folks. No, I ain't got no plants. I ain't got no plants. I got that fire though. This is a wizard tree. This stuff right here sounds serious. Okay. Yeah, I was on the insomnia show. Uh yeah, I don't personally smoke myself, but I like to help the people that do smoke, you know what I mean? But anyway. Oh, Bonnie, you smoke too? Okay. Too bad you wasn't all up in the New York area. I can help you all out. Kikosa says I can smell it. Raphael says I smoke to forget about pain. I feel you. I just don't like how it makes me feel. I get a little loopy. I get a little goofy. I haven't smoked probably in Dr. Feelgood C. Yeah, I haven't smoked weed probably since, man, it's probably been 24 years or something like that. I just don't like how it makes me feel. Gets me to hee ha ha. And I want to eat the refrigerator and go to sleep. But anyway, yeah, listen, we all know that eventually we got to make that move towards a quarterback. I just want it to be the right one. I don't want to keep wasting time bringing in. I feel like we've done that too much. You know what I mean? I feel like that's been our problem over the years. Like, how many quarterbacks have we really truly taken in the first round over since Dan Marino's retired? How many quarterbacks have we taken in the first round in the last 30 years since Dan Marino's retired? One? Just two, or Tannehill and Tua. Yep. Dolphin Dan, you're right. I almost forgot about Tannehill. So all those other years, we try to put Band-Aids on it. And I feel like that's what drafting a Jackson Dart is, or a Jalen Milroe. That's the same thing. And even when we drafted Tannehill and Tua, like, did we really, was that our best effort? Because Tannehill was a damn wide receiver. You know what I mean? Tannehill was a damn receiver and Tua was injury prone. We didn't even know if Tua was going to be able to come back from the hip. He was dropping videos trying to prove he could throw the football. So for once, I want to truly go out there and draft a quarterback that is supposed to be phenomenal. Yeah, there's not no sure bets. There's not. I think Sage Roosevelt's on the ballot for Hall of Famers candidate. Raphael, that's you got a Sage Roosevelt jersey in your closet, don't you? You always bringing up Sage Roosevelt's. Yeah, I would just, for once, I would like us to be like, all right, this is the top quarterback in this draft class, and he's getting drafted by the Miami Dolphins. just once, just for once. You know what I mean? I just, I'd love to see Arch Manning or the Menshaw pick, or you know what I mean? Whoever that top quarterbacks end up being. Like, let's get our hands on them just for once. And hopefully this year we get the offensive line built up, so whoever we draft next year or the year after, they don't have to come in and get themselves killed. They don't have to come in and get themselves killed. To be fair, Dart and McCord would be miles ahead of Skylar. Dolphin dying, you'd be miles ahead of Skylar Thompson. You yourself would be miles ahead of Skylar Thompson. Skylar Thompson, by far, in my opinion, is the worst quarterback we've had that I've ever seen play for this team. Malcolm Perry was quarterback in college. He was made into a wide receiver. Yeah. Yep. And then we took a chance on hip injury to it. Yep. I mean, let's just hope Tua can stay healthy this year, because I really believe we're going to have a good team this year. And if Tua can stay healthy, it's a double-edged sword. If we have a good year this year and Tua stays healthy, that means Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer probably aren't going anywhere. That means we're probably not drafting a quarterback in the first round. That means that we're probably stuck in this area of limbo that we're currently in for that much longer. Or do you hope that we lose? Which, as a Dolphin fan, I can't hope that we lose. I can't hope that Tua gets hurt. I can't hope that we struggle just so I can see Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel get out of here. I just don't know what the real answer is, because we can't continue to rely on Tua being available. But again, I want to see this team be successful. And if we're successful, we can't get a top-notch quarterback. We can't get a Jaden Daniels. We can't get that. You can't get that type of player unless you got a top 3 pick. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting Will Howard in a later round. That wouldn't be a bad pick. I'd like that pick. Listen, 4th through the 7th, we can draft 3 quarterbacks. I'm cool with it. 4 quarterbacks. I'm cool with it. But them first 3 picks, they better be offensive line and safety. And if you veer from that at all, the only other position I'd be all right with is defensive tackle. No Skylers. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Skylar Thompson makes me absolutely sick. All right, tomorrow we're going to break down our free agents and whether we want to bring them back or we want to release them. I want your help with that. So we're going to vote. Keep a release. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Again, if you're checking this out on Game Changers, please jump over the Fin Posse and like and comment and share on that channel, because these breaking up of the views are killing my chances of hitting the algorithm. They're really, it just sucks. I'm getting a decent, I'm not even a decent amount of views, but to cut my views in half between the 2 channels kind of sucks. To cut my likes in half between the 2 channels sucks, and it's hurting my growth, I think. But please check over onto the Fin Posse podcast page and like on that channel, please. I'll be back tomorrow. Again, we're going to be breaking down free agents and talking about some possible free agents that might be available for the Dolphins. So like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Thank you so much. Love y'all. And fins up forever. Yay!